Minister Hina from Pakistan, the realities for your country at the moment.
Okay, so interestingly, I noticed that you did not mention a very big reality which has a very big impact on my country in your what has gone wrong in the world, and that is Afghanistan. And I mentioned this specifically because this is what does. A new crisis comes up, and a crisis that we leave behind gets left behind. And then whether it's a humanitarian disaster and people are dying, and UNDP tells us that 97% of the people are going to be below poverty line, it doesn't matter to the world because the world is looking somewhere else. Now the problem with such a framework or happening is that the impact on the people, which is in this case 40 million Afghans, is not undone when the world starts to look away. The impact on them continues to happen, right? And then the impact on countries like ours who have a 2,600 kilometer border with them also continues to happen. And as we have said repeatedly, and I would like to say this again, because many a times Pakistan finds itself in a very difficult position. We find ourselves in a position where we are, it seems, the expectation of the West, of the international community is superimposed on us at the same time as the expectation of what is now the interim Afghan government is also superimposed on us, and Pakistan finds itself carrying at the same time two briefs and not having the ability to articulate and put forward what is its own brief, what it is its own policy. So I would perhaps want to take a minute to be able to do that, because we feel very strongly that as a country which has constitutional provisions for women to be part of normal, equally part of the Pakistani society, the Pakistani classrooms, the Pakistani parliament, the Pakistani banks, the Pakistani workspace. We find it obviously distressful that our sisters and women across the border will be curtailed in ways that they are, right? And we find it just more than distressful that some of that thought process may permeate through the border and find its space, which is obviously a threat. I consider that to be a threat for Pakistan. Now, having said that, because of that grandstanding moral position that a lot of the international community also has and shares with Pakistan perhaps, shall we enable the complete implosion of the Afghan economy and also the starvation of the Afghan people so that we can hold our moral position? I find that to be equally threatening to us. So Pakistan feels threatened in some ways, and being in the space which we didn't want to own, which we don't choose for ourselves. So just wanting to put it on over here, because I look at Ukraine being nowhere similar, but when the attention of the world comes, it also goes away very quickly. But right now, when we talk about negotiation as an option in Ukraine, and a lot of people say, no, not until this happens, the people who are suffering, the collateral damage that is happening is not about countries who are summoning, perhaps, but of the Ukrainian people, just as in Afghanistan, of the Afghan people, and then some of the spillover of the Pakistani people also. We've already forgotten Afghanistan. We will soon forget Ukraine, perhaps, and then we'll go on to the next big challenge. And then for the next 2 weeks, be really obsessed with it, and then we'll move on. But what we leave behind is real people and real impact and real ramifications and repercussions, not only for the people, but for the geography, for the region. So in some ways, trying to weave this together, there is a role that the multilateral systems have. Until the time that we have not come up with a better system, it's the only guarantee of security that is given to smaller states and medium-sized states. And when everybody starts looking for exceptions because they are able to justify their behavior because they are means to good ends and everybody else's behavior is means to bad ends, it creates a problematic situation. And that is what we're seeing right now.